Section 1. The Origins. The Invention of Invisible Taxation. It all began in 1913, when two major events changed the financial destiny of the world. First, the Federal Reserve was created, a central bank designed to stabilize the economy. Second, the income tax was introduced. These two moves were sold as reforms to protect citizens from financial crises. But together, they formed the perfect foundation for what economists now call soft confiscation, the gradual erosion of wealth through inflation, taxation, and debt. Before 1913, money was backed by gold. You couldn't just print more of it. Supply was limited, and your savings held real value. After 1913, however, governments gained the ability to create money out of nothing through central banking. This gave them a powerful new tool: control the money supply, and you control the people. And that's when the game changed. Section 2. The Rise. How inflation became a weapon. By the mid-20th century, especially after World War II, nations realized something. You don't have to raise taxes to fund wars, welfare programs, or infrastructure. You can just print money. That's when inflation became the invisible tax. When governments create new money, prices rise, but your wages don't keep up. You don't see the deduction on your pay stub, but you feel it every time you go grocery shopping. In 1971, President Richard Nixon officially severed the dollar from gold, ending the Bretton Woods system. From that moment on, money became purely fiat, backed not by gold, but by government decree. That decision unleashed a new era of endless spending, rising debt, and decreasing purchasing power. A dollar in 1971 could buy what now takes nearly $8 to purchase. The system didn't fail. It worked exactly as designed. Section 3. The breaking point when debt replaced wealth as inflation quietly eroded savings. Another trick emerged: cheap credit. Governments encouraged banks to lend for homes, cars, education, everything. Interest rates were kept artificially low, making debt feel harmless. But here's the catch. When everyone borrows, the cost of everything rises. You think you're building wealth by buying a home, but in reality, you're signing a 30-year contract to the bank, paying double the price once interest is added. Meanwhile, governments and corporations borrow trillions with little intention of ever paying it back. Because in a system where money can be printed endlessly, debt isn't a bug, it's the fuel. Section 4. The Fallout: How the System Eats Itself. The 2008 financial crisis exposed the fragility of this setup. Banks gambled with cheap money, crashed the system, and were then bailed out by, you guessed it, newly printed money. Citizens lost homes, jobs, and savings. The very institutions that caused the crisis were rewarded. And what did central banks do? They doubled down with quantitative easing, a sanitized term for creating even more money. The result is the rich, who owned assets like stocks and real estate, got richer. Everyone else? Their cost of living skyrocketed. This is the modern version of feudalism, not with kings and castles, but with credit scores and interest rates. Section 5. Failed fixes and modern parallels. Governments promised reform. Instead, they digitized the same broken system. Today, we're entering the age of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, programmable money that could track, limit, or even expire your spending. Meanwhile, the U.S. national debt just passed $35 trillion. And inflation quietly destroys your savings at around 3 to 5% a year, even in stable times. In 2020 alone, over 20% of all U.S. dollars ever created were printed in a single year. That's why everything, housing, groceries, education, feels impossible to afford. It's not a mistake. It's the system repeating itself. Section 6. The Lessons: How to Break Free. So, what can you do in a game rigged against you? First takeaway: learn how money really works. The more you understand inflation, taxation, and debt, the less power these tricks hold over you. Second takeaway: stop saving in cash. Cash loses value by design. Instead, store wealth in productive assets, businesses, skills, or commodities that beat inflation. Third takeaway: question every solution that promises safety. Whether it's a new stimulus, a central digital currency, or a universal basic income, ask, who benefits the most? Because history shows it's rarely the average citizen. ending the warning and the call to action. The financial system isn't broken. It's working exactly as planned. Governments borrow, print, and inflate. You work harder, save less, and fall further behind. But awareness is the first step toward freedom. The more people understand the mechanics of money, the harder it becomes for these tricks to continue unnoticed. So if you want to dig deeper into how to protect yourself, how to turn these systems to your advantage, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. The truth about money isn't that it's complicated, it's that it's designed to keep you too busy to question it.